Returning to our mat each day, even if it's just for 20 minutes, it's not just 20 minutes. It is returning to your mat, it's returning to your space, it's returning to your soul. So never worry that you only do a 20-minute practice. And today we're going to do a 20-60. So if you need to, because of your schedule, just do the 20 minutes. I'll cue you when to turn your device off. And then we'll continue a hip flow for a 60-minute practice. So coming down onto your back body, support the head, elevate the heart. Maybe initially just bringing the soles of the feet together and pressing the heels and the balls of the feet in towards each other, even flare the toes, and let the knees gently drop to the sides. Nothing to do here. Hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. Closing down the eyes. Coming into your breath. Coming into your space. Coming into your practice. So we mentioned full moon or new moon yesterday. Maybe coming into an intention for the next 2 weeks before we come into that full moon. The time to reflect on what you want to receive, what you want to work on. We're all here to work on something, and it would surprise you that that something is something we all want to better ourselves in some way. Maybe a one-word intention. And the beauty of the new moon phase, it's the start of the lunar season. It's the start of the dark moving into the light. But there's nothing wrong with the dark. As they say, you can see the stars when the night is dark. So anyway, take a couple breaths here. Set an intention. Breathe it in deeply through the nose. And fill the body, fill your space. And then exhale nice and slow. Just let the body relax here. We'll take 3 more breaths. And if your upper body is comfortable resting on your towel or your head supported by a block, I invite you to stay right there. Otherwise, maybe slide the bolster or towel out from underneath you if that feels better. And maybe here you explore that option of picking up the feet and placing the edges of the feet on top of your block on any level. Right now, mine is on the lowest level, the flattest level. And again, just feel into the body. If this is too much of an opening, don't take it. Just stay with your feet on the mat and maybe support under the thighs. But if you can, use your breath and see if you can relax the pelvic bowl. Let the hips go nice and heavy. Begin to feel maybe the stretch through the hip flexors and the inner thigh. Continue to press the heels and the balls of the feet together to find that connection and flare the toes. So making it a little bit more active here. We'll take 3 breaths. And if the feet are elevated on the block, take a moment. We'll all take our hands to the outside of the thighs to bring the knees together slowly. Send the block away, just off to the side, and come back. Baddha Konasana, supine. Maybe now the knees fall open a little wider. I'm going to keep my chest elevated, my head supported, but you're more than welcome to remove those props to come straight back on your spine. And when you're ready, leave the left leg exactly like it is and just extend the right leg long. So coming into this resting tree pose from a kind of different place, level out the hips just a bit. And if you find you're tilting over to that left side, again, grab that block or your towel, just something to support so that the hip points stay pointing up towards the ceiling, the pelvis is flat. And just pause here. We'll elevate this resting tree pose by picking up the ankle and placing it on top of the right thigh, flexing through the left foot, toes pointing back towards the shin. Beginning to feel now the weight of that left knee drawing down towards the mat, and perhaps feeling a stretch wrap around the left hip from the front through the hip point to the back. Just can you pause there? Notice your upper body here. Is there any tension in the shoulders? Did you just draw them up to the ears? Each time we intensify a pose, we seem to bring it into the shoulders and the neck. And you again, just release the jaw and the shoulders. This is all from the belly down. Take a full deep breath. Both feet now are flexed. Again, one more breath to see if you can just release through the left hip. And then begin to bend into that right knee and draw the right foot next to the right sit bone, plant the foot. And so from here, I'm going to take out from under my head the support, but I'm going to leave my lift in the thoracic. You do what feels good in you this morning. And as you come into this figure four shape, take a moment to just maybe bring the fingertips inside the inner thigh and just press the left knee away from your body. Just a slight movement. And as you make that slight movement, again, you might feel that stretch that wraps around the left hip. Just take a moment and breathe into that. One more in breath. And on the out breath, on the exhale, I'd like you to let that knee fall in towards the chest and across the body. Maybe the hands come to the outside of that left knee to encourage it to come even further. And you begin to feel from the low back through the piriformis, the glutes, the outer thigh, IT band, a different kind of a stretch. Hold there for a breath. And then we'll return, release that knee, and let the knee go back away from the body. If you need to use the fingertips, use the fingertips. Find that stretch through the thigh, through the hip, through the inner groin. And one more time, release the hand. Just now, this time, just let the knee fall where it wants to fall. Bring it across the body towards the other shoulder. No need to even use the hands unless it's a deeper, better stretch for you. And then without the hands, the knee goes back. As you press the knee away, not with your hands, with your hip muscles away from the body. Pause there. And then we're going to use the strength of our hips, not our arms, not our interlaced hands initially, to draw the knee structure up into the chest. So as you draw it up into the chest, now interlace around that right hamstring. I'm going to come off my towel here, back onto my mat. And interlace and draw it in. Use the elbow again to help prop the left knee away and flex through both feet. So as you settle the hips, maybe you take a rock, gentle rock, right and left. Noticing what kind of a stretch that brings into the left hip. And then level out the hips, come back to a little bit of stillness. Take a moment, again, observe the upper body. Maybe pick up the chest, squeeze those shoulder blades under so the shoulder tips drop. Pick up the head to tuck the chin. And let's raise that right leg up to the ceiling, flex through the heel, draw the leg structure in. And then as you hold the leg structure still, just let's move into that right foot. So pointing and flexing, circling through the ankle, flaring toes, making fists. We all know. So take what feels good in there and listen to any sounds that the toes might make or the ankle. And as you flex again, notice that calf. And as you point the top of the foot and the top of the ankle, find that stretch. And then bring it back to a flex, find stillness, and draw the knee, the thigh in towards the body. Soften the shoulders. Just bring your focus to the left hip now. And then slowly, we're going to drop that right heel down towards the right glutes. Let that foot flop. Draw the leg structure in a little further, and then raise the leg back up. Just warming up through the right hamstring, drop the heel down to the glutes. Let the foot flop. Again, keep the focus on the left hip, but at the same time, raise the right leg. Draw in, feel the hamstring, and then let it go. Twice more, nice and slow. Inhaling, raise the right leg, flex the foot, draw it in. Bend the knee, release the foot, and let it go. Last time. Leg raises, heel rises. Bend the knee. Are you feeling that left hip here? Yeah. Nice and slow. Let's return the right foot now down to the mat. Release the clasp. So here again, in your figure 4, let that left knee now fall in towards the chest. Use your hands to draw it over towards that right shoulder, maybe releasing some of that heat that you just felt. And then coming back to the figure 4, flex through that top foot. We're going to drop the entire structure over to the left. So you can slide that right foot down towards the end of your mat as the left ankle anchors on the outside of the thigh. So here, just trying to drop the knee down, the right knee towards the mat without any pressure, just weight of that ankle. Pausing there. And then extend both arms overhead. So resting on the back of your hands, stretch the fingertips away. So you've got this long line from the hip point through the shoulders to the fingers. But at the same time, the weight of that ankle is bringing some stretch into the IT band, outer hip, down to the knee. Big breath in. And a slow breath out. And let the arms come back down. Use your core. Draw the knees back to a center so that you feel stable, again, level in the hips. Excuse me. Release the left ankle, bring the feet wide. Just take a windshield wiper, nice and slow. side to side. Walk the feet back into center. Bring the soles of the feet together, coming back to that supine Baddha Konasana, that cobbler pose. Knees go wide. So here again, leveling out through the hip points. Just notice if there's more of an opening. Take a moment to pause here. And this time we'll switch to the opposite side. So the left leg will go long. Keep that right foot inside the thigh, or that little resting tree pose. As you take a nice full deep breath here, we'll pick up that right ankle, deepen the pose by placing it on the left thigh. Flex the right foot. Let the right knee fall open nice and slow. Again, beginning to really work around that right hip joint. 2 full breaths. And then we'll bend into that left knee nice and slow. Plant the left foot by the left hip bone. Figure 4 here. So right foot is flexed, toes pointing back towards the shin. That just helps to engage all the muscles to protect the knee here. Right fingertips inside the inner thigh and lightly, gently urge the right knee away from the body. Just waking up again, all the way around that right hip joint. Settle the upper body. There's no energy here. It's resting, jaw soft, face soft, shoulders soft, breath soft. And as you press the right knee away from the body, take the full breath. And then we'll release that and let that right knee fall in towards the chest, across the body towards that left shoulder. Maybe we use the hands on the outside to gently encourage that stretch now from the low back through the piriformis, the sacrum, the glute, the IT band, and pause there. And on the next breath, we're going to send that knee back away, press gently, knee away from the body. And then again, let the knee fall back in and across. Hold in. Maybe now we don't even need to use the hands to encourage that stretch through the back of the glutes. And without use of the hands, send the knee back into that figure 4. And almost like the knee goes further back, and just pause there. Feel the wrap of the stretch. Belly is soft. Keeping that foot flexed on your next inhale. Again, press the knee away, but let the hips draw the whole structure in towards the chest. Both feet are flexed. Then maybe interlace around the left hamstring to draw it in closer. Right elbow still encourages that right knee away from the body. Re-soften the upper body here. Draw the belly in. You can feel the entire spine on your mat. And then slowly lift the left leg up towards the ceiling. So the heel leads the way. Draw the shin in closer here, beginning to open up now the back of the left hamstring. Just take a gentle bend. Heel comes back down towards the glutes. And on the inhale, lift the left leg back up to the ceiling. So we're going to take about 4. Each time you lift the leg back up to the ceiling, see if you can draw that thigh in closer to the body. So yes, the focus, and you can probably feel that right hip, but at the same time, if you're taking the 20-minute practice, this is a nice opening for the hamstring as well. Last one, we'll hold with the left leg up, soften the shoulders, draw in the belly, draw in the structure. And stay for another round of breath. And then nice and slow, we bend into the left knee, bring the left foot down. As you arrive back on your mat, take the whole leg structure now. Flex that foot, take it all over to the right. Slide maybe the left foot down so that you can find some space to lower the left knee closer to the mat, getting the stretch around the low back, through the glutes, down the IT band. And if it feels good, extend the arms up to the ceiling, not the ceiling, overhead to rest on the back of your hands. And then settle here. See what you can let go of. See where you can release any clenching. 2 rounds of breath. And then release the arms back down. Use your core, use your hip strength. Everything comes back up. Take a moment to pause. Let the spine settle. And then release the ankle and draw the knees into the chest. So as you squeeze them in, you hear me say this, let that tailbone roll up with you. And then hands to the top of the knees, nice and light. Knees are going to separate right and left. And we're going to send them down towards the back of the mat as we roll onto that tailbone and then draw the knees back into the chest. So nice and slow. I want you to feel the spine, but at the same time, we're internally and externally rotating through both of the hip joints. So again, that little 2 for 1 here. And then reverse, send it the other way. Enjoy the spine massage, the sacrum massage. And then draw the knees back to center one more time. And drop the feet to the mat. Find that supine Baddha Konasana one last time for those of you staying just for the 20 minutes. Bring the soles of the feet together. We'll all bring our heels together. Knees go wide. Hands to the heart and the belly. And just notice if there's any more opening here than when we began. Inner thigh, outer hip, space in the pelvic bowl. Take a full deep breath in. And for those who need to end a little early, pause your device. Stay here for a few moments. Just with your breath, just with your intention, just to set the tone for your day. For those of us continuing on with our practice, take one more full inhale. And on the exhale, let's use our hands again to help guide the knees together. And roll to one side and make your way to all fours. Padding up your knees if you need to pad up the knees. Stacking your joints. Shoulders over the wrist with the fingers spread wide. Knees right underneath the hip points, hip points. So there's a line between the center of your knee to that hip point. And as you gaze through your knees, you can't see your feet. They're directly behind your knees. Draw the belly in, press into the palms, find again that nice neutral tail. And then just take a couple cat-cows. So lift the tailbone and sink the belly, lift the heart, gaze towards the top of your mat. Exhaling slow, tailbone comes in, chin comes in, press into the palms, round through the upper back. And then with your breath, take about 5. Whether you do the traditional, whether you change it up, just feel through the torso here, the front body and the back body. And then returning to that neutral table, really scooping in the belly, bring the big toe mounds together. Let the knees go as wide as you can, wide. This is another big hip stretch as you sink the hips back to the heels. But as those knees are as wide, and maybe that towel helps support the spreading on the knees on the floor, sink the hips back, keep the torso elevated first. So begin to feel into the inner thighs. Breathe there. And allow the hips to continue their journey back towards the heels. They don't have to hit. But as you soften into this pose, this is kind of like our frog pose that we would do, or our half frog. It's pretty intense. So breathe in. And as we bring our chest down towards the mat, I'd like you to walk the right hand forward so that you can slide the left arm under, coming into and I'm going to grab my block from my head, coming into a thread the needle, but from a very wide child's pose. So again, elevate the chest if you need to. This is pretty deep into the inner thighs. Walk the right fingertips forward. See if you can relax through the hips and use your breath. Reaching the left fingertips as far as you can so that maybe that shoulder comes down closer to your blanket or your block. And then take 3 really nice long breaths here. Notice where you're clenching. Notice what you're trying to hold up. If it's too intense, you can bring the knees in. Slide the right hand back, right underneath the face. Press into that palm. Release the left arm. Come back, both hands on the mat. Press back, lift the chest. So again, if you need to adjust for this other side, you just bring the knees in a little bit closer. Take a nice full breath in. Walk the left fingertips up a bit so you can slide the right arm underneath the body. I'm going to slide my block in to support my head. Come down. Walk the left fingertips forward and see again, big stretch. So if you need to adjust, bring the knees in or don't sink the hips back as much. But see if you can breathe and relax. Release into the pose. 3 more breaths. Walk the left hand back to plant by the face so that you can press into that palm. Bring yourself back up, and just for a moment, both palms down, press into the palms, length into the chest and the spine. And then this is going to feel really good. We're going to bring the knees together. So walk the hands back in a little bit closer to the groin, and then draw the knees in. Thighs together, knees together, feet are flat. Allow the body to come over the thighs. Rest the head on the mat. Curl the shoulders in as you rest in a knees together. Child's pose. Arms beside the body, palms up. Hands stacked on the spine, elbows out if you want a little deeper. If you want to stretch into the wrist and it's there for you, that reverse prayer behind the heart space. 3 rounds of breath. Let the hips settle. Let the body settle. And just use this time to breathe into the back body, the back of the lungs. Expand the back of the ribs. And with the knees together, maybe feel that stretch from the tailbone through the crown of the head. 2 more breaths. We'll bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Press into the palms as you tuck the toes. Lift the hips high. Forward fold at the back of the mat. So again, keep the knees bent. We work some of the hamstrings, but it's still early. The belly can rest on the thighs. The head hangs. So we get this nice long line. Maybe you sway. Maybe you hug elbows. Maybe you bounce a little. See what you need to release here. Let the head hang. Don't try to hold the head up. Nice. Release the hands back down. Just let the arms dangle. And then nice and slow, they call it ragdoll. So press into your feet, draw your belly in, and roll as slow as you can to a standing position. And as you arrive, allow the shoulders to come up to the ears and to roll down your back. So again, we'll do that again. Shoulders up to the ears and roll down the back. One last time. Up, squeeze them behind you. And then arms beside the body, palms out. Take a moment now. Just take a breath, maybe close down the eyes. That intention maybe for the next cycle of the moon. Take a breath. And then as you're ready, inhale, slight bend in the knees. Take the arms out and overhead. Hands find the prayer. Maybe a standing back bend here. And then draw the hands through heart center as you forward fold. Let it go. Find the half lift. Refold. Press through the feet and bend the knees and draw yourself up. Arms reach up. And then take the prayer through heart center, nice and slow, straight back, forward fold. Half lift, draw the belly in and fold. And then rise back up, reach up. Maybe that standing back bend, and then slowly refold. And as you refold this time, maybe the legs are a little straighter. Maybe you can feel the hamstrings lengthen. Take the half lift and then fold. And stay in your fold and heel toe the feet together. The big toe mounds come together. The heels are a little bit separated. Draw the belly in. And then again, fold, let the head hang. Shift the weight into the balls of the feet. Shift the weight into the heels and lift the toes. Ooh, there's a stretch. Come back to the balls of the feet, lift the heels. Come back to the heels and lift the toes. One last time. Come up onto the balls of the feet as far as you can. Hold there for a breath. Then lower the heels down and pick up the toes. Breathe into that stretch here. Lower down. Bring the feet back out, hip distance apart. Plant the left hand underneath the face on your block or flat on the mat. So support the whole hand wherever you are. Draw in the belly. Right arm lifts out to the side and up. We're just going to take a twist here. So again, shift the weight in the feet and notice how that changes the stretch through the hamstrings and the calf. And then take a half bind, bring the hand behind the back over to the side, open up the chest, and then equal distribution of weight. Shift the weight back into your heels. Take a full deep breath here. And then we'll release the bind. Arm re-extends up, slowly comes down. Replace the left hand with the right. Extend the left arm out to the side and up. Again, starting to revolve here, chest to the side. Take the bind, press the hand into the back, open up the chest a little more, and then shift the weight back to the heels or to the balls of the feet. So again, focus on the back of the leg, even though we're twisting through the upper body. Notice what you feel in the calves and the hamstring. And release the bind, extend the arm. Both arms come back down to the mat. Release your block if you have it. Just hang in a fold. Belly's in. Head is loose, neck is loose. And walk the hands out. Let's find your downward dog. So we're going to pedal it out at first, one heel and the other, coming down closer to the mat. Now again, this is more about our legs and hips. So if you find the heel does not come down, walk your hands in just a bit. And then let's find some stillness. We'll come up high on the balls of the feet first, and then lower the heels down. Press the palms away, send the hips back. See if you can get the heels to rest on the mat. Keep pressing through the palms. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs. One more breath. And then on your inhale, bring the feet together at center. Drop the heels down. Inhale, raises the right leg up to the ceiling. Bend the knee so that the heel falls back to the glute, and then open up the hips to the side. Now, as you do this, keep your shoulders straight to the top of the mat. Keep the head relaxed. Just open up here and maybe a couple circles just to wash out the right hip. So as big or as little as you'd like. And then reverse. And then re-extend. Find that three-legged Dog, press into your palms, get nice and long. Here, it's not so much about the lifted leg. Can you feel the lengthening in the standing leg? Then take a bend into that right knee, draw it forward like you're coming into a core plank. Set that knee by the right wrist. Extend the left leg out. So we're coming into a pigeon pose. And if you are not comfortable in pigeon like this, please take the figure 4 seated. So like this, okay? But here, as you come down, and you can moderate that front shin. So sometimes you hear the cue that the shin should be parallel to the top of the mat, but a lot of us don't have that space. So I kind of tuck my heel in towards the groin, press through those palms, lift the chest up, find some length here, and then slowly bring yourself down, head to a block or stack your fists, release the lower body, but I want you to notice whether you're resting on one hip. See if you can level the hips, even if you have to place that towel or bolster underneath the right hip, level them out. And then find a resting pigeon pose here. So you settle the hips, let them be heavy. Allow the upper body to be light. Allow the breath to be fluid. We're here for 5 slow breaths. As you're here, if you feel like you want that quad stretch, you can always lift that back heel up towards the glute. You can reach around to draw it in. But again, maintain the breath and the softness in the upper body so that you can relax into the hips. If you have the foot, release the foot back down. Take a full breath in, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, press your weight back to that proud pigeon first. And then we're going to swing that back leg around to the side and forward. So around, roll over onto the right hip, swing the leg around, and draw that foot on the opposite side of the knee. Okay, so we're coming in to a nice twist. So plant that left toe down, lift the left knee up as you hug it in, just like what we did on our backs. But draw the belly in, straighten through the spine. Take a full breath. And here I want you to feel the wrap from the low back through the glute into the hip and the hamstring. Let's soften the shoulders. Cow face legs. You can do this with one leg extended, but now that we're in this pose, all we're going to do is slide that left foot off to the side by the right hip. We're going to flex through both feet, maybe even holding on to the balls of the feet. So the knees stack. And if it's too intense, that bottom leg can extend out. So use, again, the leverage of your hands on the feet, soften the shoulders. And if it's available to you and you want to come forward just a bit, over that left thigh, big opening through the left hip. Take a full breath. One more. And release. Coming back up through center. Release the feet. Again, unravel. Come back onto that right hip. We're going to make our way back into a downward facing dog and pedal it out. Press into the hands, no weight in the wrist there. And then bring both feet together as you press those palms like you could press them to the top of the mat. Both feet together, find some stillness as the heels come down towards the mat. Again, big stretch to the back of the calves and the ankle, the Achilles. And we'll move to the other side. So right foot plants, left leg lifts. Press into the palms, get nice and long. Bend that left knee, let the foot fall towards the glutes, and just make 3 or 4 nice big circles into the left hip. And reverse. Head hangs. No tension in the neck. Belly is engaged. Good. And then re-extend. 3-legged dog. Again, notice the stretch into the standing leg. And then bend the left knee, come forward into that core plank. We're going to drop the left knee by the left wrist, slide the right leg back, pigeon pose. Again, option to take it seated. Press into your palms, draw the belly in, shoulders back. Support. So if you feel like you're rolling onto that left hip, support something under there so that the hips stay level. Take a big breath, proud pigeon, and then slowly come down, maybe to the fists, head to a block, elbows wide so the chest can relax down over that thigh. Finding the breath here now to allow the upper body to just release. Hips stay level, opening right into the left hip. Each breath softening. If you took the quad stretch on the other side, bend into that back knee, bring the heel towards the glute. Maybe circle the arm back to reach for the top of the ankle. Wherever you are, soften. Wherever you are, breathe. Release that foot if you have the foot. Take one more full deep breath in. And then plant the hands under the shoulders. Lift the chest up again. Proud pigeon here. Get nice and long. Nice stretch through the inner thigh, the psoas there on the right side. And then this time, roll over onto that left hip and swing the back leg around to the side, the front of the mat, and plant the foot on the outside of the knee. So as you arrive here, again, press that big toe down. So we're going to bring that knee in towards our chest, draw the belly in, use the hug to straighten through the spine, soften through the shoulders. And again, the more you hug, just a nice release again through the right piriformis, hip, IT band. And we'll deepen this now by sliding the right foot out towards the outside of the left hip, flexing through both feet, stacking through the knees. I don't know why it's called cow face pose. I can't understand that. But cow face legs. If again, this is way too intense for you or hard on your knees, extend the bottom leg out. Just keep the feet flexed. We bring our hands to the balls of the feet. Use that again to lift through the spine, lift through the chest. And if it serves you to go deeper, just begin to fold forward nice and slow. Keep the shoulder tips back. Neck in line with the spine. And the chest comes down towards the thighs. And here, just breathe and soften through the right hip. 3 breaths. If you're in a fold, nice and easy with the inhale, bring yourself back up straight. Fingertips come behind you. Unravel and send the legs long. Take a moment. Shake them out. Again, I always like to bring my fingertips to the hip crease because I always kind of like that massage. But take what you need. Again, maybe rock along the sit bone so you can really feel yourself here. And then with the hands planted behind you, bring the feet wide, toes pointing forward, and we're just going to do that windshield wiper, but we're going to do it from seated. Belly is in, the spine is long. Keep pressing through the fingers to lift the chest. And then coming back up to neutral, walk the feet back in, hip distance. Walk the fingertips in towards the body. Maybe the hands come behind the knee crease as we slowly make our way down onto the back body. And draw the knees back into your chest. Again, as you squeeze them in, let the tailbone ride up. Enjoy that nice stretch. Plant the feet back down on the mat, hip distance. Just taking a bridge pose here. So arms beside the body, palms down. We're going to press into our arms, press in through our feet, lift the hips up. Let the weight come onto the upper shoulders. Head and neck are free. Send those knees like you could press them back to the back of the room. Lift the hips. We're here for 5 breaths. Length through the quads, space between the hip points to the shoulders, nice and long. 2 more full rounds of breath. Slowly returning to the mat, either curling the spine like pearls being set down or come down nice and flat. There's science to encourage either one. As you arrive, again, draw the knees into the chest. Squeeze in, lightly plant the hands on top of the knees. Again, knees go wide as we circle to the back of the mat and back in. One last rinse through both hip joints and reverse. And as you draw the knees back into the chest, begin to bring the balls of the feet together, the heels together, and lower the feet down to the mat, returning once again, Supine Baddha Konasana, recline cobbler. If you want to elevate the feet, like we explored at the beginning, use your block. Otherwise, begin to settle here, hand to the heart and belly. Pick up the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades under. Little tuck of the chin. Rhythmic breath, your rhythmic breath, where your exhales are twice as long as your inhales. Close down the eyes. Let the palms receive the breath. Maybe in for 3 and soften for 6. Fill for 3. Release everything for 6. Continuing like this. This is where I'll leave you this morning. So if you'd like to take a traditional Shavasana, extending the legs, you want to stay here with your breath, turning off your device. Again, a couple moments of just self-care. Namaste.